We are a developing country. We cannot blindly pursue the same pathways as that of the developed countries or the European Union or other countries who have committed to net zero by 2050.
We are delighted to have Mr. Kalyan Bhattacherjee, the Chief Sustainability Officer of Jindal Stainless, with us today for an interview.
Thank you, Mr. Nirmalya. Thank you.
Thank you,
sir. For inviting me to this show.
Sir, my first question to you, we have been discussing steel demand since morning, of course, green steel demand since morning. But India, well, of course, one of the first countries to implement the classification system for green steel definition. But alongside, we are also seeing heavy investments, large-scale investments in blast furnace and converter technology going forward. So, how is this a contradiction in terms as far as sustainability of the steel industry is concerned?
Very good question, Mr. Nirmalya. See, India is still a developing country, and that's why our Prime Minister, they have positioned India in the net zero journey for the finish date of 2070. We are a developing country. We cannot blindly pursue the same pathways as that of the developed countries or the European Union or other countries who have committed to net zero by 2050. And with that, even after committing to net zero by 2070, the government of India has given a lot of push in terms of defining this green steel taxonomy, defining the Indian carbon market. These all things are paving a way towards your green transition, or let's say carbon neutrality. Now, these are, even though they are at the initial stages, and since India is a developing country, so for the infrastructure, we need steel, we need energy, we need thermal power, we need steel, and that is for the entire country. The benefit is to the entire people of this country. We have to invest in the core sectors or the steel industry and also the energy industry. Side by side, if you see, there is a definite push in terms of nuclear power, in terms of energy, in terms of steel. There is a push towards the green steel taxonomy and the carbon credit trading system. So this shows there is a fair balance which government is trying to achieve, that even while looking after the larger benefit of the developing country by giving clearance for more and more steel plants and also thermal power plants, like India will be adding around 30 gigawatts of thermal power, right? In spite of that, there is a definite roadmap towards the nuclear shift and the definite roadmap towards the green steel technology. So these have to go side by side, hand in hand, and gradual phase-wise transition will take place. You will see down the years, there will be a gradual shift towards all the phased out units. They will migrate towards the green steel production. And also there is a study that is going on how to adapt the old power plants. Thermal power plants can be converted into nuclear. So these are the things which government is already looking at, even while investing more in this core sector. The transition into this towards the green economy, it is ongoing. It is happening parallelly, and there will be a phase-wise transition, gradual transition towards it. So we cannot ignore the status of a developing country, that we need the infrastructure for the overall development of the country, and this is foremost. We cannot forget that, while also paying very important emphasis on the green transition.
So one follow-up question on this blast furnace technology, of course, as we are seeing for all the scenarios that have been developed by IEA or even the Ministry of Steel and others, that blast furnaces will have to come retrofitted with CCUS, with CCU carbon capture systems, in order to be able to exist after a date, say 2040 or 2050 or 2060. But carbon capture itself is quite an unproven technology, and maybe today in the in steel making in the world, there is only one carbon capture plant in the Middle East which is working. So with such an unproven technology, how safe is it for the integrated steel producers in the country to be banking on the technology?
See, there is no other option. You see, carbon capture technology is implemented only after you have exhausted all other known source of decarbonization, whether it is renewable energy integration, energy substitution, fuel substitution, or green hydrogen. After exhausting all the possible decarbonization levers, then the residual carbon has to be removed. So it is the carbon removal process that which the carbon capture and utilization is meant for, the final carbon removal process. And if we do not do it now, we will be late, because if we do it now, we will be evolving into this technology, we will be creating more economical technology in this carbon capture utilization space. So unless we have a keen sight on that, I mean, there has to be total sight on this technology, how to make it more viable, both commercially and in the scales. We have to make it viable. So unless we start the implementation, even in the pilot phase, even if it is in the pilot phase, still we should start the implementation of the carbon capture technology and the utilization. It will survive the test of time if the utilization is also looked into with the the due criticality it is gaining importance in the carbon capture technology as such. Because carbon capture, and then if it is going for the storage, then it is highly uneconomical. But if it goes for downstream utilization by converting into higher derivatives of carbon, mixing it with green hydrogen or even grey hydrogen for the matter, as of now, I mean, if it is a transition fuel, let's say even if we mix with the grey hydrogen, still we get a carbon dioxide derivative that is utilizable in the downstream industries. So we should not look at the carbon capture in isolation, we should look at the entire value chain of the captured carbon. Like there are many industries who are setting up the carbon capture and utilization plants. So the downstream utilization will pave way for its higher scale of adaptability and adoption in the industries.
That will be the payback for the technology.
That will be payback for the